For over 80 years, Wonder Woman has stood as a pillar of the DC universe, an icon of truth, compassion, and justice. But like any great myth, her story isn't static. It's been told and retold, refined and reimagined, each version reflecting the era it was born in. While the core elements in Amazon Princess, leaving her hidden island for the world of mortals, remain, the details of how and why she does so have undergone a fascinating evolution. Today, we're diving deep into the history of Wonder Woman's origin, tracing its path from a wartime tale to a modern mythological epic. How did a character sculpted from clay become the daughter of a god? And what do these changes tell us about the enduring power of Diana of the Themyscira? It all began in 1941, in the pages of All-Star Comics number 8. In this Golden Age debut, creator William Moulton Marston introduced us to Paradise Island, a hidden sanctuary populated by the Amazons, a race of immortal women who had escaped the treachery of men thousands of years ago. Their society was a utopia of peace and advanced knowledge. This peace is shattered when a U.S. Army pilot, Captain Steve Trevor, crashes his plane on their shores. He's the first man to ever set foot on the island. Queen Hippolyta declares that an Amazon champion must be chosen to return him to man's world and help America fight the forces of evil, specifically the Nazis. A grand tournament is held to determine the most worthy warrior. Hippolyta forbids her own daughter, Diana, from participating, but Diana, wearing a mask, enters the tournament anyway, and of course, wins. Her mother, bound by Amazon law, reluctantly accepts the outcome. Before she leaves, Diana is granted her iconic costume and two key assets, the lasso of truth and a pair of bracelets forged from the remnants of their old chains of enslavement. And how was Diana created? According to this original story, Hippolyta, yearning for a child, sculpted a baby girl from clay, and the goddess Aphrodite brought the statue to life. This miraculous birth underscored her unique status among the Amazons. Her mission was clear: to be a champion for democracy and justice in a world torn apart by war. And to get there, she used one of the most curious inventions of the era, her invisible jet, a piece of sci-fi tech that felt strangely disconnected from her mythological roots. This original concept was groundbreaking but felt a bit like a trial run, right? The blend of Greek mythology with futuristic technology like the invisible jet and the mental radio created a unique, if sometimes jarring tone. It wasn't quite fantasy, not quite sci-fi, but a pulp adventure mix of both. The source of her powers was also somewhat vague. She was as beautiful as Aphrodite, as wise as Athena, stronger than Hercules, and swifter than Mercury, but these were more like poetic descriptions than a defined power set granted by specific deities. Her motivation too was deeply tied to her immediate love for Steve Trevor. While she fought for grand ideals, the initial catalyst was undeniably romantic. It was a product of its time, a simple, heroic narrative designed to inspire during World War II. It served its purpose perfectly, establishing Wonder Woman as a major hero, but as comics grew more complex, her origin story was ripe for a deeper, more cohesive retelling. The foundation was strong, but the house built upon it needed some serious renovation to stand the test of time. That renovation arrived in 1987, a year after DC's universe-altering event, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Writer and artist George Perez was tasked with relaunching Wonder Woman for a new era, and he delivered a masterpiece with the storyline Gods and Mortals. This wasn't just a fresh coat of paint. It was a complete reconstruction from the ground up, one that would define the character for decades. Perez delved deep into Greek mythology, weaving it into the very fabric of the Amazons' existence. In his version, the Amazons weren't just a tribe of women who ran away from men. They were the reincarnated souls of women who had been wronged throughout history, given new life and purpose by a council of Olympian goddesses. Their home was now officially named Themyscira, and it was a place of deep spiritual significance. The clay origin was kept, but it was made far more resonant and divine. Hippolyta sculpted the child from clay on the shores of Themyscira, and 6 Greek goddesses descended to bestow their gifts upon the infant. Demeter gave her strength from the earth, Aphrodite gave her beauty and a loving heart, Athena gave wisdom, Artemis gave the eyes of a hunter and unity with beasts, Hestia gave her sisterhood with fire and truth, and Hermes gave her superhuman speed. Diana wasn't just a miracle. She was a divinely sanctioned champion, blessed by the gods with a clear purpose. Crucially, Perez changed the dynamic with Steve Trevor. He was no longer a young romantic interest, but a seasoned, middle-aged officer. Diana saves him, but there's no immediate romance. Her reason for leaving Themyscira was no longer about a man. It was a sacred duty. She was to be an ambassador, a diplomat from a culture of peace, sent to teach the ways of harmony to a world teetering on the brink of self-destruction. Her mission was to stop Ares, the god of war, from plunging humanity into nuclear annihilation. The impact of Perez's refinement cannot be overstated. Gods and Mortals became the definitive Wonder Woman origin for nearly 25 years. It provided a powerful, coherent framework that seamlessly integrated her mythological roots with her superheroic mission. By making her a champion of peace first and a warrior second, it elevated her from a simple crime fighter to a global icon with a profound philosophical purpose. Her connection to the Greek gods was no longer just flavor text. It was the core of her identity and the source of her conflicts. Her villains like Ares and Circe were now direct mythological adversaries, giving her stories an epic, timeless quality. Steve Trevor's role as an ally and friend, rather than a love interest, allowed Diana to stand entirely on her own. She wasn't an accessory to a male hero's story. She was the protagonist of her own grand myth. This version of Wonder Woman was a diplomat, a scholar, a warrior, and a spiritual leader. The invisible jet was Avengevin, a mythological makeover, explained as a piece of the Themyscira technology that she could manifest with her mind. This reboot solidified her place as the third pillar of DC's Trinity, not just in power, but in thematic weight. She wasn't just fighting bad guys, she was fighting for the very soul of humanity. But in comics, change is the only constant. In 2011, DC rebooted its entire universe again with the New 52 initiative. Writer Brian Azzarello and artist Cliff Chiang offered the most radical departure from Wonder Woman's origin yet. They did away with the clay origin entirely. In this new continuity, Diana was not sculpted and given life by the gods. Instead, she was a natural-born demigod, the biological daughter of Queen Hippolyta and Zeus, the king of the gods himself. The story of her being made from clay was revealed to be a lie, a cover story concocted by Hippolyta to protect Diana from the wrath of Zeus's jealous wife, Hera. This change was seismic. It fundamentally altered Diana's relationship with her family and her heritage. She was no longer a unique creation, a miracle of the goddesses, but one of many illegitimate children of Zeus. This instantly put her in conflict with the entire Olympian pantheon. She was no longer just their champion. She was family, with all the dysfunction and baggage that entails. Her Amazon sisters, who once saw her as a divine gift, now viewed her with suspicion and even resentment for her parentage. This origin made her story less about being an outsider discovering a new world, and more about navigating a treacherous divine family drama. It emphasized her warrior nature and her place within the raw, often brutal world of the Greek myths, recasting her as a figure born of conflict rather than created for peace. So, from a magically animated clay figure to a divinely blessed champion to a secret demigod, Wonder Woman's origin has proven to be as adaptable as she is powerful. Each version builds upon the last, keeping her relevant for a new generation of readers. The Golden Age story gave us a patriotic hero for a world at war. The post-crisis reboot gave us a mythological ambassador for a more complex and cynical age. The New 52 gave us a modern family tragedy, exploring themes of legacy and identity. Yet, through all these changes, the core of the character remains. She is still Diana, the princess of the Amazons. She still leaves her home out of a profound sense of compassion and duty, and she still wields the lasso of truth, fighting for a world that can be better than it is. The evolution of her origin isn't a sign of inconsistency. It's a testament to her strength as a character, a myth so powerful it can be retold in countless ways and never lose its fundamental truth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into comics history, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more content. Let me know in the comments which Wonder Woman origin is your personal favorite. See you next time.